Hey, welcome to another Wednesday. Thank you for showing up. This is OutKast Podcast Radio. I'm your host, Chris O'Toole, with my lovely assistant, Gwen Johns. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? We gonna get to see you today? You gonna keep your
I
camera
don't
on?
know. You know what? I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm giving you a hard time.
no. It's okay. I just look. I'm always behind the camera. I'm the one who's taking photos, doing video photography. Working behind the scenes, lighting and design, and all this stuff. I don't really particularly care about my chunky ass face, really,
Oh,
being on social media and so forth like that. But I mean, look, even when I was, a good average, you know, good size, looking sexy and shit, back in the day, I still was, I'm still camera shy. You know what I'm saying?
no.
Like I'm the person who likes to create.
Yeah.
I'm the person who likes to make things happen. You know, I'm just, but I like to be in the back. I like to be in the background and like ta-da.
Understand. They do like to see your face, so
Well, yeah, thank you. Well, tonight, we are going to talk about Satanic Panic,
Mhm.
and so Gwen is unaware of like Satanic Panic. She doesn't know much
and
about
our
it,
guest
but
is in the background waiting. We do see you,
oh,
honey.
yes, and I have special guests. Oh my God! Hold on one second. My kitty, come on, kitty cat. All right,
They
all
want
right.
attention every time we get on the show, I
Oh,
tell you.
I know. Special guest Sally Benavides. She is going to join me tonight. We're going to talk about the case of Mark Kilroy, 1989, and we're going to talk about Satanic Panic.
You ready
Yes,
for her?
absolutely.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hey,
How you
thank you,
doing?
Sally.
I made it.
Yes,
Yeah. Good.
yes. I'm so glad that you made it. Thank you.
Uh-oh,
You're
we got
very
it.
welcome. Very welcome.
Hey, so I'm getting a
Uh-oh.
go.
Chris, what you got going on?
I don't think it's me.
Is it me?
Sally, do you?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
have
Sally.
on?
Do you have it on speaker? Do you have on a computer
No.
or no?
Hold on. I know how to speak. Hold on just a minute. I'm gonna mute you for just a second. Okay.
All right.
Yep. It's you, Sally. You got two things on because it's bleeding through.
Better?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh no. Hold up.
Mm-mm. It's almost like you got like a. Do you have a TV or something on? Somebody watching you in the house?
No.
Okay.
No. No.
Oh, let's see.
Um,
Let me
Yeah, it
use my
usually
AV
happens with
spidey
like
senses.
if I have my TV on watching us or my phone and then on there.
Are you using
Oh, you know
a
what?
head?
Yeah, hold up. Could you hold on 1 second?
Yeah,
we got-
no problem. No problem. No problem.
We have technical issues all the time.
Hey, you know what? I feel like I'm going in a hole. Like I hole. Yeah. Where are you going? To hell. Hell. Oh damn.
It stopped. She got
She
it.
broke it. She broke my
Yes!
flow. Yes. Yes.
People don't realize that it will bleed through an echo. What it is, it has the delay on it. And
No, I had my big old speaker Bluetooth to it, so
right.
No worries. No worries. Thank you for coming on tonight. I definitely appreciate it. And so
you're
we're gonna
welcome.
talk. Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, look, you got me so excited last night, Sally. When you told me that, I was like, oh my God, you have to be on my show. Like,
Yes.
it was perfect timing. It was
Yeah,
totally
it was.
perfect timing.
Yeah,
You
because when I
know?
saw that on your site, I was like, wait a minute, I know about that. Wait a minute. But yeah, it had happened, and it's crazy, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
so let me break it down to the audience about the case. So in 1989, the world was still reeling from the height of the Satanic Panic, a fear that masked real evil and insidious evil. Well, tonight we're going to take a case of Mark Kilroy, a young man whose tragedy exposed a darkness far more chilling and the cult people feared, a deadly mix of organized crime and ritualistic violence. So you know what? This story is like, I don't know. Like when I was a kid, I really didn't understand the magnitude, of what happened until later on when I was gifted of this really insane book. It's called like Apocalypse 2, and it's like all these essays. And I read this essay about, Constanzo,
Mhm.
and then I realized when I was reading this essay, like the horrible things he did and everything, for black magic. And I was like, wait a minute, Mark Kilroy, I remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's great that you can share your story, of about the time that you were there. And how far was it, where they discovered the bodies from your grandfather's ranch?
Yes, ma'am. How far was it? Is that what I could barely hear you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so Santa Elena Ranch is maybe like 5, not even 3 miles from where my grandpa's town is.
Wow.
My grandpa's town's right up. You can see the Texas side, Harlingen, on the other side of on the other side of the yard. You can see the river, and um, yeah. So if you want me to tell you what happened, how I found out, um, we had gone around the time that they were looking for Mark. I didn't know who this kid was, and we went to visit my grandpa because my brother was in South Padre partying, and my mom just wanted to check up on him. So we went out there and we were hanging out. And when we got to my grandpa's house, my dad was like, "Hey, why is there so many buzzards flying around?" And but before that, we had gone through the international bridge that's down there, and we had seen a lot of posters and stuff on the telephone poles
Mhm.
about him, and I was like, who is this guy? They keep looking for him. We didn't know. Well, come to find out, my aunt, when we were over there at my grandpa's house, she's like, I don't know. I think somebody's cattle poisoned somebody. Somebody poisoned some cattle out there, and now they're rotting outside. We don't know. But little did they know that that's when all those bodies were being buried out there near their ranch. And then about a week later, that's when we found out that that was the big finding was, the big cartel had done this, and that's where they found Mark, amongst others. But they sacrificed him. They literally, they just did away with him in the most ugliest way. I mean, the way, I don't know if you've seen the news, the report, the stories they did, and they would show the
Yeah.
cauldron, and they would show so
Yes, I do
grotesque.
remember that. Yeah.
And yeah, but it was like we were there and we didn't even know it was under our noses. Um, but that town's always been, now that I know, my dad would always say, when we were kids, we were always told not to go to that little village, that little town, because there was some witches there, some gypsies that always would, or like curanderas. I don't know if you know what that is. They're like women that, they're like witches, but they're really not. They're like a combination of tarot readers, and they do the Santeria. I don't know if you know what that is. Santeria is a mixture of Catholicism with Satanism. I guess that's what they call it. It comes from Africa, Cuba. So there's a
Right.
lot of that down there. So, and I guess they picked that town, that little. It was a little shed. It was a little shed where they found him and others in that. It was like a corral, and there was a mass grave of people. So some crazy
Yeah.
stuff. Very crazy
And,
stuff.
and a little bit about Mark Kilroy. Mark Kilroy was a product of the Texas Gulf Coast. He was born and raised in Santa Fe, Texas, a small town, tight knit community south of Houston. By all accounts, he was a bright, popular, and ambitious young man. He excelled in school, graduating from Santa Fe High School, and went to University of Texas, Austin, and to I think wasn't he like a pre med student, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken?
Yes, he
Yeah,
was.
yeah. So he had a promising future, for a break of a demanding schedule. So in March 1989, Mark and three of his friends drove to Austin for a traditional spring break to the trip to South Padre Island. The island was an epicenter of student parties, but for many students, the nightlife spilled across to the border in Matamoros, Mexico. March 14th of 1989, Mark and his friends crossed into Matamoros that evening out. Mark was last seen around 2 a.m. on the street corner, but I hear that supposedly he was waiting for a taxi. I heard that he was talking to Sarah, correct? He was talking to a
Yes.
female, and his friends went across the border, and he said, "Hey, I'll be there," and then he just never came back.
Mm.
They they went and thought he was going to be at the hotel room, and he wasn't there, and they were waiting, and that's when all this started to come ahead.
Mhm. Um, he was with two other guys, two of his friends. They had gone to Senor Frogs. It's one of those bar and grills, and I think Constanzo was Sarah. She kind of had a, I don't know if they were boyfriend and girlfriend. They hung out a lot, and she used to study at UT Pan Am. I went to that school, but way after she did. Um, but it was from Brownsville, and she has a upbringing of curandera, all that. So I guess he found in her a way to get members for his cartel. I don't know, because they would use her to lure guys and girls into their groups. But I think that night, when she had been talking to them at the bar, especially Mark, and I think when they came out, he kept talking to her, and one of his buddies came up to him and said, hey, I gotta go use the restroom. So he went down some little alley right by the entrance, and he says that when he came back out, they couldn't find Mark anymore because he had been talking to her outside. But I guess that's when they got him, and so that's when
Oh
everything
man,
began. That's scary.
it is.
Yeah, it is scary. And the fact that, the killer, like, see, growing up, we never really knew about the situation like the killer. I think for the longest time no one spoke about it. You know what I'm saying? No one spoke about it. It was like, okay, a young man was killed in a horrible, horrible way amongst other people. We're not going to talk about it, because we're not going to give them clout. And we don't at that time, no one talked about the killer, or how he started, and so forth. So I mean, Adolfo, de Jesus Costanzo. I'm just gonna call him
Mhm.
Costanzo because
Yeah.
obviously, my Spanish sucks. Even
No, it doesn't.
yeah, oh yeah, it does. When I look, again, it's a taco. Dos tacos, again, yeah, I can do that. I love tacos. I love tacos.
Tacos. Mhm.
She learned that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Gonzo was a Cuban born in Miami, Florida. He grew up in Santeria and other Afro Cuban religious practices, eventually twisting them into his own ends. He saw himself as a Narayahu, a high priest, a prince, a corrupt and violent of Apollo Mayobi, which we were
Iowa.
talking about, the African religion, incorporating ritual sacrifice for power. Costanzo moved to Mexico City and later to Matamoros, building a following amongst the wealthy and the powerful individuals. His primary client was the most dedicated follower was Sarah Autere, a
Yeah.
college
Mhm.
student who acted. Yeah, look, I see. I already mastered her. See, I can't even say massacre. I can't even say massacre. I messed it up.
Okay.
You know,
Massacre.
You got
acted
tongue tied,
as
girl.
the cult high priestess. I know, right? Right.
You're
Hey, I'm
doing
I'm
good.
good
You're
right
doing
now.
good.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
A lot better than I would.
Crucially, crucially, Costanzo provided spiritual protection and service to narcotic smuggling ring and operating underground, Gulf cartel. Which we're not going to talk about the cartels, you know. But anyway, it was just a very horrific thing.
Death.
And you know what? And he would probably still be alive, if Costanzo didn't mess up. So as they were talking about Costanzo, working with the wealthy and the elite, his thing was he wanted to get with the drug cartel because that was the ultimate money. And I don't know if Sarah was a part of that because
Oh
I
yeah.
thought because I think she
Yes.
wasn't she related to part of the cartel?
Yes. I mean, she's from
Yeah,
Matamoros, from Brownsville. There, those cities are like, let's say, just it's just like Baytown and Houston. They're like right by each other, and well, not right by, but let's say Humble, whatever. Th- like where my grandpa lived in that town. To this day, you got cartel, and you got, and they all come. They stem from Matamoros. They stem from. They use Matamoros more because there's a beach, there's a waterway. Smuggle it in. That's how you get it in. Other, other than the
right,
river, but I think what this is my theory. I think they would use Sara to get, because she was pretty and she still is. She's a nice looking lady, and she would
right.
get the
She is
guys, and she would get the guys to come in, and she'd introduce them. But then that's when you switch on them and say, hey, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen to you. But then I think they hid the cartel business behind the witch, the satanic panic, all that. That was just like a I think it was just like a scare tactic. Like, you mess with us, this is what's going to happen to you. Or we're doing this, we're sacrificing Mark, or a young American guy, to give us more power to smuggle whatever, to
right.
get more money. Yeah. So, um, I don't know. I just think sometimes the police, the federales down there, they knew everything. They knew what was going on, but sometimes they're corrupt. They're in it as well. So I hope nobody's
No,
listening. But
well,
you know what I'm saying. They're gonna come
no,
get me.
no, I
Nope.
mean, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you don't know really who to trust, especially in the Mexican government.
Yeah,
Because
they hide behind that facade of, oh, they're witches or their guys are gonna cut your head off because that. Well, yeah, they will, but they claim it in the name of Satan. And back then, I was scared. I really was. I didn't want to go to my grandpa's house anymore. I think everybody was like that.
yeah,
No, because that's when everything started, and then they would blame it all on oh, it's satanic. But
and I remember what you told me last night, and I don't know, man, it just gave me chills when you said that y'all were outside and y'all just smelled like this
yeah,
smell,
it
that putrid
smelled
smell.
like death, like stink, like just you couldn't even catch your breath because we were sitting out in the patio, when my grandpa and we're on the rockers outside,
You were just
and
visiting at that
yeah,
time?
we would always go, but my mom, we weren't gonna go, but it was spring break for my brother because he was going to school in San Antonio, and
Mhm.
he called my dad and said, "Hey, do you give me permission to go? Because we're a really close family. Can I go with my friends to South Padre?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." And then when my mom found out, she's like, I have a feeling. No, 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 no. Let's go visit. Let's just act like we're gonna go visit. Your dad, my grandpa, and just to keep an eye on him, I guess. But we never went looking for him. But I guess she just wanted to be in that area, and that's just when all that happened. And we
Wow.
saw all the posters down in. There's this little town called Las Flores and Progreso. It's right across the border, and it's just like a big strip. Little taco stands and curio gift shops and all that. There's dentists, doctors' offices, and everywhere you turn, they had that Mark's picture everywhere. And we didn't think anything of it. We didn't know anything. And then when we got to my grandpa's house, that's when we saw all these buzzards, like just they were everywhere. But that, like I said, that ranch is like north, like maybe 3 miles from there. And
Wow.
Right.
yeah, and it stunk. And that's when my dad asked my grandpa, he's like, "What's that smell?" He goes, "Oh, I don't know." And that's when my aunt said, "I think that's somebody poisoned somebody's cattle." And you know,
Wow.
yeah, there was so
Yeah.
many bodies out there.
Yeah. 14. 14
Yeah,
bodies.
I think they had
Yeah,
been
I mean,
doing it for a while.
yeah, I mean, and they do actually have like the photos
Yeah,
online, and
yeah, I read a.
and
Mhm.
it was just like wow, like the I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like, look, I believe everyone should practice the religion and so forth, whatever they choose. You
Yes.
know, I mean, even if it's Satanism, it's America. This is,
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I'm a Christian, but I'm a Christian. It's my business. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I can't just go into somebody else's business and say, "Oh, you know what?
Yeah. Do that.
You can't do that." That's not. I wasn't raised that way. In the
Yeah.
sense of being an American. An American, you're supposed to, be open to those things. I mean,
Yeah.
you may not disagree. You may disagree with it, but when it comes to this extreme, where you're taking someone's body, taking someone's life to prosper.
Hmm.
I mean, just from what I've read about Costanzo and all that, he was
That's
like,
evil.
dude, he was narcissistic to the bone. He was a narcissist, like an extreme narcissist. He slept with men, he slept with women to to get himself clout.
With
He
animals.
had, yeah, he had like no convictions whatsoever. You know, and so when you look at that and you kind of think about the psychology of it, because there's a lot of people who are sociopaths. You know what I'm saying? They don't go kill
Mhm.
people. You know what I'm saying? But they're sociopaths.
Yep.
Yeah.
But for someone to devalue a life for personal gain, what would you call that? I mean, because there's people who say, like, hey, that is not satanic. That's not satanic. That's witchcraft. Witchcraft is different than Satanism, you
Yeah.
know? And it is because Satanism is basically new. Satanism was founded in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So satanic rituals, that's a different story. That's been going on for thousands and thousands of years.
Mhm.
I mean, you look at Native Americans, especially who practice cannibalism, eating the heart of their, enemies and all that, especially where we live at, Sally.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, we had some Native Americans. They didn't care, man.
They didn't.
You
They
know,
they they would eat each other. I mean, yeah.
and
The
I think Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why where we live is so haunted because of the history, the ice age of the Native Americans and like the Quanco
mhm.
Indians, you know.
Bronco, that's how you say it. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I was trying to
and
say it.
so but it's just I don't know, like, now when I'm older, and this was several years ago, and you're older now and you really like, wow, that was really horrible.
Mhm.
It
I
was
mean,
really
growing up as
horrible.
a kid, you're scared of it. I mean, and even I'm gonna say something. I work at a surgery center. I'm not gonna say where, and I've met quite a bit of people that and it's funny because I was closing up and I was gonna go close the front door, and this man came in. He looked lost, and I swear by this. He's like, "Hey, do you know where pre-op is?" And I said, "Oh, that's in the hospital." And he goes, "Because I've been here before, and could you look up this and this and that?" So I asked him his name, and that was his dad, because they live in Santa Fe, and it was him,
Oh,
Mr.
wow.
Kilroy. And yeah, and then I told him, right, I just I saw Mr. Kilroy. They're like, who? They didn't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was going to do some blood work and stuff, but. I remember that. And I even remember after all that happened. They had the vigils and stuff. Um, I was going to Catholic school at the time, and I remember my class was invited to go to Santa Fe because they were going to have a special mass, and his dad and his mom and dad were going to talk to all the youngsters to in lieu of their son. And we went out there, and it was really nice. And they're just a average family, and this awful thing happened to them. It was awful. I mean, to the point where it affected tourism. It affected just it kind of labeled the border in ways.
So
Um,
you guys, I'm from South Carolina, by the way. You can't
oh
tell by the accent. I jokingly say that because I get that all the time. So
yes.
I kind of vaguely remember like that there were a lot of, let me say, disappearances or something, and then they found a bunch of bodies. So they would take these people from wherever, and for whatever reason, they dumped them on, like you said, a corral or a shed or
Mhm.
something. Did they
Yes.
own the property, or did they know that nobody used it, type of thing? Or
No, back there, what they do is they'll go like because they're like little gangs. So I
Mhm.
knew, okay, there was two brothers, the Hernandez brothers, and they would go to school with Sarah. That's how she hooked them up, right?
okay,
And they said,
Sarah
"Oh, we
was
know a place." The
the
girl
girl.
was
Okay, yeah,
Costanzo's partner in crime.
okay.
Well, she hooked them up and said, "Hey, we can do this, and get us some guys. I'll help, and just find us a place." So these guys were from the Mexican side, but they'd go to school in Edinburgh, right next to Reynosa and all that, all those little border towns. Well,
Hmm.
they knew a place. They knew somebody that owned that shed. And what they do, this is how they work. They go in there, they threaten them, they try to bribe them, and then if you don't do what they say, they threaten you, and they'll say, "Okay, you don't let us use your shed, we'll kill somebody. We'll cut your finger off or do something, or we'll kill your mom or kill your." So of course they have a place now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how they get this. They get those places to. Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I mean, I can't say we don't have bad stuff here, but it just seems like, I don't know, maybe it's because it's close to the border and people
Yeah.
more
All kinds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just very
I
green
had
business.
I mean, I had an ex-employee that I worked with who was from Matamoros, and she practiced the craft, witchcraft.
It's big over
And
there.
yeah, and she didn't like me very much. You know,
That's
and
not somebody you want to not like you, Chris. Oh my goodness.
Aw.
You need to get her guts out.
you know, and she was telling me about her deities, and I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, and I'm like, you know, basically, I think they were her like little demons or whatever. And I remember working one night, and I was by myself, and I saw something like pitch black, like a shadow, like walking in the
Like
girl's
blacker
restroom.
than that ate
Blacker
the light,
than black.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And then, and you know what she told me? Like the next day, she's like, "I have them watching you."
La Santa Muerte. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. No, she called them gargoyles or whatever. She's like,
Oh gosh.
It's
she's,
possible.
she's like, I
Yeah.
have them watching you. You know, and I'm like, okay, but yeah,
It's
I
very
can see you
strong
going,
there.
okay. Like
no, no,
Okay.
no,
okay.
no,
Jeez, Chris.
my bad.
Sorry, guys. We have to, Chris. Sometimes I don't know. People will say
Yeah.
serious stuff to her, and she's like, okay.
Look, man, listen.
I'm
This
just giving you.
Look, this Satanic Panic stuff, like where where we're from and
Yeah.
all that. I mean, people really took this shit seriously, and you know,
Yeah.
after what happened to Mark Kilroy, and I was telling Sally last night. My cousin and I, we used to cycle like 25 miles a day. So we would go all the way down the Texas City Dike. We would go all the way back, go down the skyline. And so there's like the road is called Dead Man's Curve, and it goes around. Well, Dead Man's Curve back then, it was just like the shooting range, but there was nothing out there except just like, just the woods and everything. Well, now it's developed. But when we were young, we were riding, and my cousin had to go to the restroom, and he was like, "Hey, hold up, I'm gonna go in the woods and pee." I'm like, "Cool." So he was like, "Chrissy, come in here, look at this." And I come in, and like someone went and cut like a perfect square, like a room, like in this like wooded area, and they made a table like out of twigs, out of branches, and all that. And there was a bowl, and in this bowl,
Like an altar type
yeah,
table. Okay.
yeah, it was like a table, yeah, and there was like this bowl, and it had something nasty. It was like, I know it was like dried up blood, and there was just like flies everywhere and all that. And we got spooked, and we like got on our bikes, and you know what? We didn't go back down there again. And it's like I said, and then my uncle, he used to be a law enforcement officer, and he was like telling us stories about different crimes, regarding like uh sacrifice, like religious sacrifices and everything. And so so it just become like this craze and all that. And I'm not saying that the stuff that my uncle said was true or wasn't true, but when you hear about Mark Kilroy, that just ignites the flame, right? Especially with the with the evangelicals, because the fact that we live in the Bible Belt, so we're God fearing Christians. Of course, anything that goes against what we're taught is automatically evil, and it's Satan.
Yeah.
It's the devil. But we don't.
It's gonna get you if you don't go to church every day. Yeah.
You're wearing a black shirt.
Right. And because we don't stop. Yeah, because because we don't know any better because we weren't taught any better.
Yeah.
And so that created a moral mass hysteria, where people just took it to the extreme. And then when the FBI got involved and they did their investigation, they were like, nothing's going on. Really, nothing's going on. But then at the same time, how do we know really nothing's going on? Because the Mark Kilroy, and
Yeah.
then you have the human trafficking of boys
Mhm.
network that's been
Yeah.
going on for years. And Sally,
Forever.
I told you about when I was going to the not the garden district, but the water district the other night
Yes.
and all that, and I filmed over there. We did like a paranormal investigation, and I mean it was like on point, intelligent. They were using the laser to map, like the mapping
Yeah.
laser.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were using
Uh-huh.
the laser and turning it on and off for communication.
Yeah. You were telling me that.
And they were
Oh.
and they
That
were and
is actually pretty. I know it's morbid, but it's pretty cool that they can do
yeah,
that. I just
and,
Yeah.
and and they were speaking with intelligent results through the Howlin' Nicola. I use the SP7, and put in there but you can hear it, and they were talking about Vicky. They were like Vicky,
Oh.
and
uh-oh.
I yeah, and
Mhm.
we'll talk about that like later, but yeah, I mean
Wow.
Satanic Panic was just a really overreach, but there's still things that lie below, especially like I was saying, child trafficking.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we know this is not part of something dark and deep when, a lot of these boys came up missing, dead, by torture through people who have money to buy boys to torture for prostitution,
Hmm.
like of the elite and so forth, and possibly making snuff films.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds like really far off. I know it sounds
No,
far
it
off.
doesn't. That doesn't. Because no, that's. But you guys are in that area. I mean, you're. I don't want to say close to the border, but I mean,
I mean, we're
Well,
still
Houston.
close.
yeah,
Well,
and plus,
Houston.
yeah, it is in a way. I mean, you guys are in that area where I guess there's so many people, and people do get lost. People, and think about it, you guys have a lot of different type crime in that area than a lot of places.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. We have some really weird, crazy, um, crime situations here. You know, um,
Yeah.
Houston is number two for serial killers. Because we have all this land out here and all this wood and sustainable ways
Swamps.
ways to get rid of bodies. Wild hogs, alligators. You name it, we got it.
Mm-hmm.
Vultures. Coyote. Everything. We
Yeah,
got a lot of swamps.
but we are the hub. We are the sex traffic hub,
I was
and
gonna. I was
they
gonna
just
tell you. We are. We are.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's I. You know what? If I had a kid, they would be latched to me constantly because I would
Girl,
be
I,
out. Woo.
I have a 22-year-old that I keep telling, if you go to your car and you see your wipers up or some just a
Or
piece of
something in the
paper,
door handle,
yeah,
anything
don't
weird.
touch it.
Mhm.
Don't. She's like,
Well,
oh,
they
mom.
my
Hey,
youngest is 25, and she thinks she doesn't realize when I say, okay, we go to the beach, she'll go outside to smoke, and I'm like, here's the pepper spray, and here's keep your phone, and she's like, mommy, you just worry. Yeah, because I've seen what to worry about. I used to be a medic, and even in this area, you see not good stuff. Let me say,
I
be
believe
careful.
you.
Anybody that's watching, I don't care if you're young, old, in between, be careful.
Yeah.
Be aware of what you're
listen,
surrounded.
World is
listen,
evil.
listen
Yes.
to this. I tell my nephews and their little friends because they come from his little friends come from broken homes, and their parents don't care what they do because they're into their addiction, basically. So they roam the streets, and I'm like, look, you are a perfect candidate for someone to
Mm.
coax you because you don't go to school. Your parents let you do whatever you want. You stay out every night. That's what they're looking for, because if you come up missing, then they think you spent the night somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of those kids was at my house for 3 days. And I didn't even know that at the time he was 12 and his parents didn't look for him.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
They didn't call. They didn't. And I was like, oh my God.
Mm.
You know what
oh,
I'm
here we
saying?
go. Marla says, Marla's a good friend of ours. She says, penny in the door handle or a Coke on the hood is the
Yeah.
bad all over for murders and kidnapping. Yes, there it is. The penny. I
Absolutely.
can't remember. It was something. There's
The
also
penny
like
in the
some,
door handle. Yeah.
yeah, something they put something on your tire so that if you drive and you hear something and you're gonna get out, don't get out. Drive over that. Just go on.
Or your wipers up like this,
Yes.
like standing
Or
up.
they'll put like a KY or something in it and you have to clean it. Don't just drive. Just drive. Don't
Right.
get out. Don't. Woo.
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you this. And I know she's not listening, but I'm gonna probably tell her anyway. So I have a good friend, Kifrey Corley. We grew up with each other in school. Okay. And I did not see her for quite some time, like for years. And I was driving down 45 and going 45 northbound, and I had a flat or something happened to my car. I can't remember, but
Oh goodness.
what I do remember is that this car came up, or this truck, and it was
Uh-huh.
this Hispanic dude, and he was like, "Well, come on, get in the car with me, get in the truck with me," and I'm like,
What?
"No." Yeah, yeah, he was trying to pick me up, not trying to
What?
help me. Yeah, he was trying to pick me up. And by the grace of God, Pifrey happened to be driving past and saw me and saw that
Mm.
guy. And she turned around and she went on the feeder and she was like, "Hey, Chris, you need help?" And man, I
Oh,
got in the vehicle with her because if she was not there at
you,
that time, honestly, I would feel like that person would have taken me.
and where were you at? Where were you in Houston? Or?
Yeah, 45 going northbound.
Oh my
Like
God,
right like like
45.
like like, like right after the west side exit.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It is
That's
crazy,
crazy.
man. And I remember giving her like this painting, the small painting I did, because all my paintings got stolen in downtown Houston, and that was the one painting that didn't get stolen, and I gave it to her, and that was like so many years ago. But I just feel like if she was not there at that time, I
You wouldn't
probably
be
would
here.
not be here. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't
And
be here
that's
because
freaking scary just to think about stuff like that. That people have the audacity just to do that to somebody, and they might be high on drugs. You don't know, but still, I mean, thank God for your friend being there. Um,
yeah, but I just feel like what what is in the mind of a man
hmm
to feel that he can go after, hey Brandon, that
Hey,
he can
Brandon.
like go and stalk a woman, or you know what I'm saying, like take advantage of a woman, especially like some of them don't care, especially in Houston, you
Oh,
know, that
no, they don't.
that man, they'll just pick you up, put you in your car, and go.
Yeah, they don't think about it, and
And
like well, look what's happening in the bayou. I don't know if they found any more bodies, and I don't even know about that anymore. Maybe it was a distraction. I don't know, but I mean, there's always been bodies in the bayou.
right.
Um, how come nobody knows? Maybe they kill them somewhere and then they just dump them there, or don't they have cameras? They can aren't there like trails down there?
Well, see, look,
Um,
this is the thing about the bayou. Okay, so yes, there's a lot of speculation. Like, do we have a serial killer? But we have to remember these bayous are all connected. You know what I'm saying? So if someone dies upstream, they're gonna come downstream. To make it look like more bodies than usual. And
oh, I got it.
you see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I mean, they were confirmed, like from the coroner. There were a few of them that were confirmed deaths of accidental drowning, or you know foul play, or whatever. But then there's unconfirmed, from autopsies. There's
Uh-huh.
several unconfirmed.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Do you think
and
that's
all
linked
these
up with? Mhm.
and all these people have different backgrounds. So most of the time, if it's a serial killer, it's going to be a certain particular type of looking person. You
Yeah.
know, it's going to be this. But I mean, honestly, I just think that it's probably vagrants who are underneath. And
Yes.
people getting drunk because the nightlife is right there by the bayou.
By the
Like if
body. Yeah, you did tell
right.
me that. Yeah.
Yeah, like Main Street goes all the way down to the bayou. There's a club right on the bayou. Anybody can just fall off the
Oh,
balcony and go straight into the bayou.
that's
You know?
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's stairs that walk down to the bayou.
That's crazy.
So right, so if
Really?
someone's drunk, they're gonna, inebriated, they're gonna fall. Some of these
Yeah.
people are homeless people who've just died possibly in their sleep and just
Fell.
and, right. But then you could have some homeless people too, or someone maybe who got out of prison and staying down there and all that, and killing
Mm-hmm.
people and so forth. But I just feel just with their with with their findings and from just certain aspects, I just believe that there's different reasons. You
Yeah.
know, I I can't really say it's a serial
I
killer.
don't think it's a
You know,
serial killer. I think it's like what you
but
said. It's just
these
certain.
people. Right. If there were like drownings, okay, there could be a serial killer who may have been a drug addict, a former drug addict. He found Christ, okay, but he's just not all the way up there,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not putting down anyone who has a form of addiction and find Christ and become converted. That's great. You know what I'm saying? Not a
Yeah.
problem. Some people, some some recovering addicts do take it to the extreme because they're recovering addicts. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, in most cases with addiction, you go to another addiction. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a good addiction, correct? And
Yes.
some
Yes.
and sometimes people get really judgmental, and
Yeah, they
maybe
do.
maybe this is a person who was a halfway house, found Christ, trying to get their life together and all that, but they still got that part of them in them. You know what I'm saying? And maybe
Mm-hmm.
they feel like, okay, well, I can go and kill someone by drowning them. Because I mean, if you
Yeah.
drown them and if you're not choking them, how are you?
You're not really.
Unless they're like tearing, your face off or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And it's perfect if you drug somebody up, or you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, or if they're drinking.
I
That's a
think.
perfect
Yeah.
way to drown someone. So
Of
hey, man,
course.
you
Yeah.
you can have a drowning serial killer. You
Yeah.
know, John the
That's
Baptist.
crazy.
A bad
Yeah.
joke, bad joke.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my
Bad.
pastor's not seeing this.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Anyway.
It's a crazy world we live in. And I know, like, going back to Mark Kilroy, Mark Kilroy was kind of like, although he died and everything, he was kind of like a wake up call, um, in a sense, to where, um, for your for the youth, because a lot of people would just let their kids go. College kids, of course, they're in college, they want a break, you go out there, and people take advantage of that. I know, because I used to go to South Padre, and then from there we'd go to Matamoros, and you pay $5 and you drink, and anything can happen to you there. Anything, you get roofied, you can get killed. But like when I was reading that book, I don't know if you read the book Buried Treasure or something like that. It was about the Mark
Mhm.
Kilroy killing. um just the way when I had to stop sometimes reading that book, because I would get so freaking scared, because of the way they were saying that they they pushed him into the van, and he tried to get away, and then they shut the doors again, and
Right.
they blindfolded him, and they cut his I mean they tied his hands in like fetal position. I think they only gave him like an egg to eat in the morning, and then they shook him up in the shed, like an animal. Like, oh, it was
Right.
horrible just to read that book. I mean, I think Yeah, he was a sacrifice, but he was like, it was something to teach us, to like the society, to open your eyes. This is what's really happening, and you got to
Right.
be careful. So I don't think he died in vain. I mean, he died for a purpose, and it's really sad. It really is, and just people take advantage of that. Oh,
Right.
but then again, then people that religiously practice Santeria, or Palomayumbe, they get a bad rep because of
They
them.
do.
They do. I'm not to say, like, I'm Catholic. I'm not a practicing Catholic. I went to Catholic school all my life. Um, my mom's very hardcore Catholic, but I do have my beliefs. I do, but I accept all religions. I don't prejudice against
Right.
anything, because like you said, everybody has nobody. I mean, nobody's going to be the same, and nobody's going to grow up just like you with your beliefs. Everybody's different. So I think people that practice like Santeria and stuff, I hold respect for them, because it's hard to be labeled.
It is.
Um,
It's very hard. It's very hard.
very.
Hey, and you know what?
Um,
I want to tell everyone who's like watching, thank you so much for joining us tonight and all that. Thank you,
yes.
Brandon, for like really chiming in and so forth. And uh Maria, yeah, like the Everglades. I know. You're so right. I know that they throw bodies there. And I'm pretty sure like,
Ooh,
the mob has and the cartel. I mean, because once you're gone out there. I
the
mean,
desert. Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah, but like
crazy.
hogs, like wild hogs, they don't leave anything. They eat everything. There's
Everything.
there's like nothing left of you at all.
That's crazy.
It is
Crazy.
crazy. It's very crazy. Yeah, like Sally, I've always been trying to get you on here, so I finally got you on, and I'm so glad that you joined me tonight because it's really been really cool and exciting to hear your story, because
Yeah,
no one knows that, like no one knows about that, especially some of the
that's
stuff that
crazy.
I've like read, but your own personal experience with it, and the fact that
Yeah.
you actually attended some of these locations that you know these killers
Yeah, it
attended.
just so happens that it was there. It was in, and I can, if I really go back and try to think, I can still smell that smell. That it's a
Oh
smell.
wow,
It's like
yeah.
death. You don't forget that smell. It's just,
No,
ugh.
I mean once what I heard, once you smell a dead body, you'll never forget it. Like
Uh-uh.
I remember when I smelled cancer and I didn't know. My grandmother had cancer for years and she didn't
I've
tell
heard
us.
it smells, but I don't
And
know what it
and
smells like.
it wasn't like, to me it wasn't a bad smell, you know what I'm saying? But it was a certain smell. And
Hmm.
so now it's like I've never forgotten that smell. And there's been some times I walk past somebody and I can smell that. I'm like, they have cancer.
Oh, really? I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
Yeah.
Is it because of
Yeah.
the
So
chemo, or is it the cancer
no,
itself?
it's the cancer itself. So
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, I had a friend who came over to my house because my cat brought a rat in the house and I didn't know, in my
Damn.
closet. And I walked past this dead rat. I don't know how many times, and long story made short, my dog thought it was like a mill and it was sitting for like a
Eh.
week. And dude, and like I was like, "Ugh." So I went and I called my friend. I'm like, dude, can you come over here and take care of this? And so I didn't tell him that it was just exploded everywhere. So
Oh.
he had like a shovel. And so he comes in because he thought he was just gonna scoop it up and like throw it away. And then he was like, where is it? And I'm like, dude, it's in there. And I was like,
Oh.
look, my dog got a hold of it. And he was like, okay, well, so he thought it was just in parts, right? And so when
Wow.
I turned on, because there was no light in the closet, so I had to like use like a light. He was like, "Oh my god, whoa, whoa," and like, and he was like, he told me, he said it smells like a dead body, Like it was so
Yeah.
bad, and like he like dry heaved for a good 30 minutes and so forth. And
Yeah, that's what I'm
instead of,
saying.
because I thought maybe he would just like put it in a trash bag or something. No, he goes and he throws it in my yard.
Oh no, baby, no.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
and and let me tell you that the the smell was so bad. Yeah, the smell was so bad, and he sat in my car. Okay, because we went somewhere. My truck,
Oh,
well, the interior of my Jeep smelled like that for 3 weeks.
oh my
When I would get
gosh.
out, I would smell like death.
Oh my gosh.
You
No.
know, yeah.
Oh, maybe clean it.
And I remember my aunt, bless her soul. When she was, I think her father or her uncle passed away, and he was dead for like a whole week or so in a hot house and all that.
What?
And yeah, so they tried to clean, and then they waited for like 3 months, and they went try to back in there and clean or whatever. She had her clothes in the truck, okay, like her uniform in the truck, okay. And so she goes and I think she said she went, she took a bath, right, and then she got dressed, and they were like, Miss H, what? Why do you smell like death? Like, and it
Shit.
and the smell from in there permeated her, her uniform all the way in her truck.
Oh, sh
That's crazy. Well, how did we start talking about gross shit? Okay. Well,
Oh my god.
sorry about that, guys. I need to stop cussing, man. Jesus is gonna
Yeah.
strike me down. Jesus is gonna strike me down because I don't know how to control myself on live stream. On live
You're
stream.
okay. You're okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah,
you're just
but
telling it like it is. Mhm.
yeah, but guys, I just have to tell y'all too. My wife and I, we have not did any like paranormal investigations for like 14 years, okay, together. So we decided to go do that. We went to the water district here in Baytown. Actually, it's called the Marina, what people know, and all that. It has great history about about the Balin orphanage, and it was part of like Chubb Shipyard, who built the first Confederate warship and so forth. And there's just a lot of stuff, a lot of history here, like awesome history.
Awesome.
But yeah, but we went and we got really, really good responses back, and I can't wait to like
Good.
really show y'all. So I'm just waiting for my MacBook Pro to get fixed so I can really do some video editing so I can post it on YouTube. But I'm gonna try to do the highlights, so people can see it. But thank you so much, Sally, for being
Thank
on
you.
tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you,
Thanks.
Twin,
You're
for
welcome.
being behind the scenes.
Sally, I apologize. I had a little snafu. We had a cancellation last minute, so I
It's
apologize. But thank
okay.
you for
No
coming on.
problem.
I was listening, and it went well. So Chris, I'm gonna just let you guys close it out, and you tell me when to end it. I'm gonna be right here.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you, audience, for joining in tonight. I definitely appreciate it. Also, too, if you want to see a repeat, you can go to Haunts and Hunts TV on YouTube and check it out. And hopefully soon I will be having some content on there. I have like over 5, 6 years of like videos that I've done, like doing paranormal stuff that I really need to put together and post. That's what I'm talking about. And also, too, Sally and I, we're going to be doing something together as well pretty soon, and all that. Do some haunted stories, and
Yes, we love it.
yes, yes. So look for that as well. And thank you guys, and good night. And don't miss Nathan on the next show.
All
Y'all.
right.